This is like a bonus kind of extra video from my last video where I was benchmarking the Mac Pro 2019 for gaming, but Mac benchmarking is just kind of garbage. I found this set of benchmarks while working on my previous video, and I felt that they were indicative of the Mac benchmarking scene as a whole. This video is literally going to be me working on my second beer and going through these benchmarks, wholesomely discussing them and weighing their pros and cons. We're talking about literally groundbreaking material here, folks. M1 Max Studio, is it really that good? Now this is going to be my live reactions. I kind of glanced at this and I know it's messed up. It's funny to me. In the last couple of years, Apple has been issuing one big announcement after another, making the computer world super excited. Yes, super excited. In March 2022, they introduced a new new Studio Mac with M1 Ultra on board. It's not in the computer, it's just on the board, I guess. That has challenged other players on the market and raised the bar even higher. Why is the M1 Ultra different? The M1 Ultra is essentially two M1 Max chips that have been connected together very nicely, which allowed to minimize crosstalk performance losses. It doesn't do double performance of the M1 Max, but Apple's getting very close to that goal. That's worded awkwardly. In addition to the 20-core CPU, there's also the 64-core GPU. There are two things that we are most excited about with this GPU. First is the 128 gigabytes of available memory for GPU operations is huge. The best that discrete GPUs can offer today is 48 gigabytes, and only on the high-end professional segment. Second, sending input data to the GPU cores and collecting results from the GPU are not limited by PCIe throughput, but can occur at much higher speeds thanks to unified M1 memory. Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of true, but it's worded awkwardly, but true. I'll give them that. The new Mac Studio compared to other top hardware. If you consider the price, size, noise, power consumption, the speed of the M1 Ultra can achieve is simply impressive. It has made it into our top 5 performers in GPU and CPU charts. A quick disclaimer, although we're trying to keep our ratings sufficiently representative and test many popular chips, we are unable to test every CPU and GPU in existence. Well, god damn it, who can you trust if you can't test any and every combo in existence? These guys are dropping the ball. With that in mind, the M1 Ultra so far only lost to the AMD Ryzen Threadripper 3090-70X in CPU-only mode tests. The AMD chip costs $3,500 on its own, so by the time you build a whole desktop, the cost will likely exceed $6,500, which is roughly $2,200 more expensive than the Apple Studio with the M1 Ultra. I'm kind of skeptical but I mean, it really depends on what you build. Now this is where this gets kind of bonkers. I have CPU and it says in this column, just some stuff, and we get frames per second. Don't know what those tests are. Just let me scroll back up. This is Neat Video. Okay, sure, Neat Video I assume is their software and they're testing it. Then we get to the next bonkers test of frames. Oh, I gotta go into this. Best speed. Is this average? This isn't average, it sounds like. It's the best speed these can attain. Like, is this the top out in frames per second? That's not that meaningful. If that's just the top, I'd be more interested in averages, but maybe that's what they mean. I'm not sure. This is really something. The GPU performance is impressive, but does not match the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3090s, as it was suggested by Apple. NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3090 is capable of running 67.1 full HD frames per second, while the M1 Ultra gives us 52. Again, keep in mind the cost of the M1 Ultra and a desktop that would be capable of giving you those 67 frames per second. Well, that's pretty stupid, because could I just buy the 3090 and stick it in a I don't know, Core i9 9900K. Those are pretty cheap. I bet I can get like a Mobo and CPU combo for $500 these days. Just plop that GPU in there and I'd have a much better computer. This tells me nothing. I don't know like what these test benches are, and I don't know what we're testing. At least we got full HD at this point, so clearly it's HD somethings. But is this making use of the media engine? Okay, I mean, I guess it's valid, but we're just not testing the entire GPU. I don't know what we're testing, other than that they do divide it up between CPU and GPU. That's interesting. M1 Ultra versus the M1, M1 Pro, M1 Max computers. As Neat Video is capable of utilizing both the CPU and GPU simultaneously in its calculations, we have also run another test and measured the combined speed of the CPU and GPU in Neat Video filtration. Well, there you go. I guess we're testing Neat Video filtration. That's something. We normally do not publish these results of such tests due to a high number of possible CPU and GPU combinations. Why not? Whatever. This argument, however, does not apply to the M1 computers as they shipped with fused CPU and GPU chips that cannot be replaced individually. So here we go. Yes, people. So here we go. All right. Here we have the full HD. Oh, there's a 4K test now too. So we're looking at the full HD test and we look at all these numbers and wait. Did they just combine the top two columns into these? Let's see. Yeah, 38.2, 38.2, and then 5252. Yeah, they just combined the GPU and CPU tables and then made this table? Why not just start with that? This is way better information. I mean, at least now they're telling me what I'm kind of doing, but these are still this best frames per second, and we're just seeing these against other Macs. Just throw in the PCs in the mix here, guys. This would be much easier. So we get down and there's a 4K test. We don't know what these do against the PCs. They don't tell us, so it's just more nonsense. Oh, here's another fun little Easter egg. They wrote 34 gigabytes of RAM. I know that has to be a typo. I mean, it seems pretty silly to go after them about that. But I'm not above it. Come on, man. Get it together, Neat Video. If I can't trust Neat Video to perform all the GPU and CPU combinations available to mankind, who can I trust? Conclusion time. Even though the Mac has not been able to conquer the world as the world's fastest computer, it has definitely gotten very close with the M1 Ultra. No, it hasn't. Nation states make computers for decrypt. Anyways, it's a whole other thing. If your main video application is capable of working on Mac OS and you're looking for a new working horse, yes, it says working horse, not workhorse. We absolutely recommend considering the Studio Mac, again, not the Mac Studio, Studio Mac with M1 Ultra. It's small, efficient, quiet, and if you compare the performance to price, not crazily expensive. This is an ongoing thing with me. Mac benchmarking is just complete garbage. I really like that these guys are trying, but this needs so much work. It just, I'm not even a professional in this space. I'm just a UX developer, but the fact that I just can tear into this like this is not good because I'm not really a hardware guy. And then the worst part is like Mac users as a whole still insist on using things like Blackmagic Disk Speed test, and prominent YouTubers use it like Max Tech, and he's got a budget. I'm just some guy right now in his home office that's not completely finished, drinking beer and ranting at the camera like a crazy person. But I'm entertained. I hope you are. And I guess my point is I don't know what my point is. I just thought this was funny. I wanted to share it with you and be a jerk. Thanks for watching.